Welcome back, everybody. We're going into match 3 of 4 here this evening. Of course, I'm Brimstone, and I've got Ty Tangles and Red Cube casting here with me. I'm pointing in the right direction, right, guys? Perfect. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
And we got a great matchup coming up here. It's going to be Axios versus Victoria's Secret. And this is the 7th place team currently versus the 4th place team in Axios and Victoria's Secret, respectively. But those placements aren't quite as indicative of how close everything is. Axios being 2 and 3 and Victoria's Secret being 3 and 2. So with a win by Axios, we could just see 2 teams with 3 and 3 records after this.
You darn Skippy, we could. There's a lot of closeness in the center of the standings right now, and so every point counts. We got 3 weeks left, so this is officially the 2/3 season being done mark tonight, and really, the time to get used to your team and get used to competitive and stuff like that should be behind you now. Of course, I can't expect any team to be like excellent, like perfect after a month and a half or 2 months max. But at the same time, like, now's the time where you've got to, you can't be working on stuff anymore. You've got to have things in place, ready to go. No more excuses.
Now, speaking of working on stuff, and I'll flip this over to you, Red. We've got Axios coming off of a 2-game losing streak and Victoria's Secret coming off of a 2-win streak here. Does that mean, as far as working on stuff, does it sound like to you that Victoria's Secret has worked on their stuff and they're the ones coming in with momentum?
So I made a mistake last game, actually, and I talked about the momentum of 8K. They were on a 3-game winning streak, and Outdeuced was on a 1-game losing streak. Completely backfired on me. So do I want to talk about momentum again? I will. I probably will. And I'm going to say right now, Victoria's Secret 100% have the momentum on their side. Mental game in Siege, it's not everything. It's a lot of things, and it can really help a team, but it doesn't dictate the match entirely. But if you're just looking at the entire I'm sorry.
Deep breath, buddy. Deep breath.
I just got distracted by something in chat. But if you're just looking at Victoria's Secret performance and then Axios' performance on matches and also who they've faced, Axios has actually had a fairly easier schedule as well. Victoria's Secret have played the likes of Artemis already, and that was one of their 2 losses. And it's just, yes, momentum's not everything, and we saw it again, but it's just kind of a question of, I think Victoria's Secret might just be the stronger team in this situation.
Now, let's, speaking of the teams, let's get into the rosters here. We'll talk a bit about them because, honestly, both sides have some pretty good players. On Axios, we're going to see Ancient One, Bazinga That, Lamp, Lupa Plays, and NinjaCroft, and they'll be going up against Victoria's Secret featuring Rachel Boo, That One Brit, Lil Lexi, who's a big player there, Just Breezy as well, a big one, and Sketchopotamus, sorry. Tell me a bit about these players, Ty.
Well, I mean, Victoria's Secret, a lot of names that are very recognizable, streamers, a lot of them. But they've had some hardships in competitive. A lot of these girls, because playing games, playing a lot of Siege is literally their career, probably have a significant amount more of hours into the game than you'll see on the side of Axios. But that being said, in competitive, things change. It doesn't matter how much you're used to ranked or whatever. In competitive, things change a lot. And as a matter of fact, I remember talking to some of these gals. They said, it's so much different than ranked. Comp is so much more fun. And they kind of are disappointed that when the season ends that they don't have anything to do really but to go back to ranked, which is why you've seen a lot of them, especially like in EU, because there's a lot of events in EU for teams to compete in, like ESL Premiership and Benelux and stuff like that. You've seen a lot of our R6W teams in EU make runs at those, and deep runs at that, right? So I like that, the competitive, you have girls that may have hours and hours and over 1,000 hours in the game versus players that might not have that much going toe-to-toe because it's a new experience for both of them. That being said, you asked about who do you think will come out on top of this thing. I think Red Cube hit the nail on the head, right? The caster's curse has come alive in the last game. So I'm going to say both of these teams are going to lose. Nobody's going to win. it's going to be 0 points across the board for both of these. And because
the game's just going to explode.
Yeah, because I said that way, nobody could blame whatever the result is on me. And if there's one thing I do know, it's that right now in chat, because we're on a 3-minute delay, so by the time this airs, there will be walls and walls and walls of Victoria's Secret logos floating through our chat.
Yeah, I think the fans are behind the Victoria's Secret side of things. And, well, there was, I don't know exactly who it was, but they said the fans can't fight for you. Oh, it's Mayweather versus Conor McGregor in UFC. The fans can't fight for you, but it definitely helps quite a bit. If you have people behind you, if you have support of family, friends, anybody, it means a lot. And I think for Victoria's Secret, a lot of teams, old evil geniuses even in Pro League, they rely on that energy from the fans. They rely on that energy. It's a lot more apparent at LANs and such because you can actually hear the clapping and the yelling. But you will see chat, you will see the emojis, you will see everything going crazy. And that makes you just kind of a little bit more motivated to go get it. Go get those wins, go get those rounds, maybe play a little bit more flashy. And sometimes that makes you even play better. So it's not the biggest thing, but it is definitely a major, major help for the side of Victoria's Secret, as well as the fact, like you said, Brimstone, Victoria's Secret, they have a little bit more confidence coming into this game, but Caster's Curse, I don't really want to talk about momentum again because we saw what happened last time.
So then Caster's Curse, let's talk about the map bans here. Caster's Curse, where do you think we're going to go?
If I say Clubhouse, will it not go to Clubhouse?
100% Clubhouse is my prediction.
Yeah,
100%
Clubhouse.
chance
It's going to
that
Clubhouse.
we're going to Clubhouse.
Yeah, I think it'll be Clubhouse as well. I definitely want to see Clubhouse. I've been waiting to see Clubhouse. I haven't seen enough Clubhouse. So I think that's where we're going to go.
Yeah, I'm hoping it's Clubhouse. Clubhouse is definitely number one on my list for what I want to see being played here. But
it's the first ban. It's the first ban.
Yes.
Okay, so I will make this prediction. We will 100% not go to Villa because I don't think we've gone to Villa ever. Have we? Somebody.
We have not. No, we have not.
Not there once. It goes. Okay, so far so good, other than the Clubhouse thing. So Borders probably very likely here. I don't see us ever going to Consulate. Cafe.
We could go to Cafe again.
Yeah, so Cafe is definitely going to be it. I don't see us going to Consulate. That's one of those other maps that I don't think we've seen in NA.
I think we've seen Consulate once. I mean, it was like week 2 DG versus Victoria's Secret, if I'm not mistaken.
Gotcha. Either way,
week 2 DG versus Victoria's Secret was the Cafe game. So Victoria's Secret, they have a VOD on Cafe, and we saw that didn't turn out well for Disrupt. Could the same thing happen here with Victoria's Secret, where they have a VOD on Cafe? We're going to be going to Cafe. Maybe Axios did their homework.
Yep. So I think all the players are in the lobby. We're going to go to Cafe for our third match of the day. So we will bid adieu to you, Mr. Brimstone, as we get this game started. And here we go. It's getting underway right now. Third map on the night, Axios Esports, Victoria's Secret. And like we said, we don't like to make predictions in this case, just because we've been so wrong. Yeah, we've been so wrong. And really doesn't matter. Nobody really cares what we say anyway, right? They just want to see the action unfold. And I don't blame them. I like to see the action unfold. I just have the opportunity to yell over said action. And so I'm right there along with you folks. So here we go. Habana off the board first. An interesting ban for Cafe, although, hard breachers, especially, I can't think of a site that hard breachers aren't important. And Thatcher gets banned as well. So I'd be very surprised to see Bandit get through here. What do you think? I
mean, I'm probably expecting a Bandit ban as well, because if you can't get rid of the Bandit charges with those Thatchers, Bandit's going to be incredibly, incredibly powerful. But it's not going to be the first ban, so Mira's off the board. Axios need to ban Bandit here, because if they don't, it's going to be an issue. And the Bandit charges, also even Kaid charges, are going to stay alive for a very long time. What? I don't like that ban, if I'm being honest. It could be a target ban, but in my opinion, target bans, especially a dock target ban, doesn't necessarily work unless you're going to unless you're going up against like Empire or something. I don't know. I do not like that ban whatsoever.
Well, some unorthodox bans from both of these teams. Axios with the Thatcher, Victoria's Secret the Doc. The Doc has to be a counter ban. Has to be a counter ban. And you know what? If you look at, I was going to say with Rook being brought out, I was going to make a comment about that, but it will get 6 pick to Valkyrie. Like, Rook is a better statistical operator than Doc because you will get 100% usage out of your utility every single time. Other than that, they're exactly the same. Same speed, same armor, same weapon, same ACOG, right? So it's just one of those things where it's, you know, it gets 6 picks, so I can't really talk about it that much now. But it's, I like Rook better, although Doc tends to be brought out more.
A lot of people could say, well, don't you want to gain more health instead of like just more armor? It's really just up for debate. It's a Doc versus Rook debate is something that kind of everybody has. But the one thing that I think it just is a little bit questionable for me is I haven't really seen a Victoria's Secret player really play Doc like a bunch. Yes, I've seen maybe here and there, but it's never been a staple of Victoria's Secret. If it was a staple of Victoria's Secret, I feel like that ban would make sense. But in this situation, I'm still a little bit confused, and we're just going to have to wait and see.
You're a little bit kerfuffled, as they would say.
I don't think they say that.
They do indeed say that. They do indeed say that. They being probably older folk. All right. But anyway, here we go. 30 seconds into what is so funny? Like, I don't understand. It looks like a bandit trick is being attempted. We do have the Twitch come out, which we don't see as often, but with the Thatcher off the board and with Bandit on the board, we're going to probably seeing a lot more of Twitch, as that's going to be the one operator you're going to have to rely on to remove the batteries. I'm actually surprised we don't see a Kaid and a Bandit, because you could just totally deny any hard breach in this situation. But
yeah, you really could.
Yeah, we'll actually have the Bandit play up against the wall like they're going to Bandit trick. Although there's, I guess, an argument to be made whether or not that's necessary with no Thatcher.
Yeah, and I think with this no Thatcher ban, I was actually expecting a Kaid to be played here, but I really like the Bandit. Bandit's a little bit more reliable, and it's a little bit harder to trick with a Kaid, but without the Thatcher, it doesn't really matter, and you can just bring Kaid for the shotgun that's also a sniper. So the thing is, when you're looking at just the bans and you're looking at kind of what you're going to bring, that's why I always said the bans are my favorite part of the game, because they can really influence a round. And I mean, not around the entire match, and this is definitely influencing this match. Although we might not be seeing like a direct answer to the fact that Thatcher is off the board, he is still off the board, and he's still going to make an impact. And talk about making an impact, little Lexi is able to find the first kill of the day for Victoria's Secret. That's going to be a castle off the board. Not a lot of utility and also not a lot of gun, but Bazinga that is able to find a refrag. But Lexi once again with 2, but it's Bazinga once again. But finally, Rachel Boo evens out the tables in favor of the attacking side, and it's going to be your Maestro and your Bandit left.
Yeah, good trades coming back and forth. Fortunately, little Lexi was able to get 2, thus putting the operator count in the favor of Victoria's Secret. Only 41 seconds left. They're going to have to start pushing towards the site. Rachel Blue kind of held up here, just cutting off a rotation. I believe, okay, they're now getting the freezer wall opened up. So a little bit of a crossfire set up from the attacking squad. I'm not sure where the remaining attackers looks like, perhaps up above the site. That one Brit will decide there's enough time to go and do a little bit more drone work before the final push is made. Problem is when you push in with such little time left, it doesn't matter how many people are on the board. If that defuse gets stopped as the clock expires, that will be a win for the defenders. Ancient One will find 1. She'll find 2 just like that. Just Breezy will find the refrag, but it is a 1v1. Just Breezy having to scramble to find the diffuser and will not be able to return back on site in time. Bazinga with the clutch play at the end. Fantastic job by her. And Axios will win round number 1.
Yeah, time management is often overlooked in Siege, and that was a very good telltale sign of that. Unfortunately, almost everything went right for the side of Victoria's Secret. They had the numbers advantage. They were able to push on the site, but then it turned into a situation where, hey, we lost a fuser. We're going to have to walk into lines of sight, and we also only have 5 seconds. So just unfortunate there for Victoria's Secret, because it always hurts just a little bit more when you do everything just almost perfectly, and then the thing that hurts you the most is the fact that you just took too much time. But time is, I think, the sixth man in Siege, and it's always going to be on the defender's side unless that diffuser is put down. And the defenders played that very, very well. Once they realized, hey, we might not have the man advantage, well, it turned into a situation where they just played passively. They waited for people to walk into their angles, and just like that, it turned into a round win for the defense.
Oh, man. People are mature in our chat right now. Anyway, here we go into round number 2, and they will go all the way up to the top this time around. Axios, as they won their first defensive round on the bottom floor, which is an interesting place to start, if I do say so myself. Usually you'll see the top floor being picked first, but they found success down below, so now they'll go to what most consider the most preferable site to defend up top. We'll have Lamp playing in Pixel. I'm not sure what the strategy is for how full on the defense is going to press up into the area surrounding the site on the top floor. That remains to be seen, but we'll see what the attacking squad of Victoria's Secret has in mind. It was a very close round last time, and they just kind of lost a time running out scenario where 2 of them got picked by the same person, and that sealed the deal for Victorious in that first round. A very close round nonetheless, so I expect this sort of to be a back and forth scenario from these 2 squads as a minute now ticks away from the clock.
Yeah, you do have 1 minute in, but there has been quite a lot of utility usage here, as Twitch could potentially get rid of a Maestro cam, and just like that, she is able to. So utility gone, and Twitch is doing her job incredibly. A lot of time you see a lot of Twitch players, they don't actually use the drone that much, and they just use the F2 because the F2 is an incredible gun. But we saw the drone being used. Not only did it get rid of an NDS, but it also got rid of a very valuable Maestro cam. So drones are working good, but I don't necessarily know if a lot of intel is available for the side of Victoria's Secret, as right now they kind of seem to be stalling out. Just never mind, just as I say that, little Lexi walks right through and is able to find Jaeger. Jaeger dying there is not good whatsoever, as you always see a Jaeger there, or maybe an Ella sometimes, and you really need them to get at least maybe 1 kill or wasted a lot of time. And the fact that it was almost an instant kill there in favor of the attack, that is not a good start for the defense whatsoever.
Yeah, I feel like the first bullet did the job, and it was a bad timing event, but little Lexi, you can't say that she was lucky there, because what a shot from her. It was so fast and right to the head. So she will actually start pushing up a little bit further. We turn away just as she sees somebody else. Unfortunate for us, but she will pick up the kill onto Ancient One. Still hasn't even taken any damage. The Ella, on the other hand, the Zofia will have taken a lot. But it's still a 5v3. The diffuser begins to go down. That one, Brit doing the defuse. NinjaCraft will find one on a Sketchopotamus, and little Lexi will find her third. Lupa will stop the defuse. No, she won't, but she'll get the kill on that one, Brit, with the C4, but it will be a retake scenario here. Little Lexi absolutely tearing everybody up, will finally get shut down, barely losing out on the gunfight to Lupa. It's still a 2v2. Make that a 2v1 as one Brit Claymore finds Bazinga wrapping around the other side. It's only Lupa and about 10 or 11 health versus 2 on Victoria's Secret and a diffuser. And Just Breezy will find that last one. Good cleanup job by them, and little Lexi storms into sight and rips everyone apart, giving Victoria's Secret their first round and tying things up.
I mean, you can look at that round and say it's almost the same thing we saw from Victoria's Secret the first time around. The only difference this time is they made it expedited. It was a little bit faster, and they didn't run out of time at the very end. They got the diffuser down, and like we said, time is always in favor of the defense unless that diffuser comes down. And what happened? The diffuser came down. All they did was hold their post-plant angles, and they did it incredibly. The one thing that we're also going to be seeing here is I'm looking at the scoreboard, is little Lexi is absolutely going off. And with only 3, going on to the 3rd round, you already have 5 kills. That is absolutely insane. And it comes down to the fact that, once again, you are seeing the first round, it really went in favor of Victoria's Secret. They just ran out of time, and they were getting their kills. They were getting everything they needed, and Lil Lexi was doing her job. The rest of the Victoria's Secret was doing their job, and this could easily be a 2-0 situation, but it's not, because Axios just played into that time management issue very, very well. Unfortunately, history didn't repeat itself for Axios in round number 2, as we saw the time management from the side of Victoria's Secret was a lot better. But Going back upstairs now is the side of defense. And I apologize if you guys hear my dog whining in the background. He unfortunately cannot get his bone that is hiding underneath the couch. And when Ty gets back here, I'm going to have to quickly go grab that. But we are going to be seeing the Lupa Plays is going to be downstairs, just looming once again. She has gotten one C4 kill from this position before, and I'm expecting the side of Victoria's Secret is going to be able to clear this one out, as they have adapted quickly in games prior to this, and they most likely are going to adapt quickly again here.
Not much time off the board. A little bit of some intel gathering going on. Been a little bit of a slow start here for Victorious as far as taking map control. They've been in a couple of situations where the time ticks down, and that would have really affected them negatively last time if Lexi wasn't able to get that multi-kill, because even with that numbers advantage, there still wasn't a whole lot of time left on the clock to work with. But that one, Britt was able to successfully get the diffuser down and put them into a post-plant scenario, which they ended up winning very easily, putting them on the board. But this is an all-new round that they're having to contend with. It looks like a little bit different of a utility setup here for the defense. A lot of barbed wire kind of in the position that little Lexi used to push in and get the Jaeger out of pixel spot. They're not going to make that same mistake again, but it looks like Sketchopotamus has already pushed out into bar. And some shots from the Alda will come back, and I'm not sure if she actually got seen or if that was just an Alda pre-fire, but she will decide to sneak over towards Freeze. So she'll see one, she'll see two, easy kill from the side. And now Sketchopotamus did a lot what Lexi did last time, took full control of the site. She'll get shut down, though, by Ancient One on the Alda in the Maestro spot. You know that's the Maestro spot. She'll find a second, though, on a little Lexi. So Maestro doing a lot of work, even despite being concussed, holds her position strongly. Decide that she's no longer at risk. We'll get a little bit of intel for the rest of her teammates. It looks like there's nobody in that pixel spot, as that Jaeger will get removed from play. So a 4v3, still a minute left to work with, plenty of time, but is that Maestro still in that same position that she's been having so much success? Yes, the bullets will fly by Breezy's head, but not make contact. She knows that she's just a couple of inches away from a crossfire scenario. The castle peeks out, does a lot of damage. Breezy will return fire and do some damage back. Actually, the castle, is he down? Yes, he is. Castle's down. Obviously, no points. But Rachel Boo out of nowhere finds two, and the diffuser begins to go down. Breezy now regains her attack. She'll find one, killing off the castle that was down. Do a lot of damage, forcing Ancient One back. Ancient One with about 3 or 4 health is going to have to find a lot. She finds one with a triple kill. She'll need the ace with almost no health whatsoever in order to bring this one back. Rachel Boo is very, very weak as well, but the Thermite has full health as the diffuser timer ticks away. They will take a little bit more of a safe position, perhaps waiting on intel coming from the dead teammates that they approach, but that will be it. One Brit with one bullet will drop Ancient One to the ground, and Victoria's Secret will win 2 in a row.
Yeah, and it really looked like the Maestro was going to be the last alive, even from the get-go of that round, because the Alda is one of those guns that when you try to take on one-on-one, 9 times out of 10, the Alda is going to win. And we saw Victoria's Secret played that very, very well. They picked off everybody else that wasn't the Maestro and then forced the Maestro into a 1v3 situation. And it worked wonders for them. And now, once again, we can look back at just the map statistics here. This is a map where it's a defender-sided map, and the fact that the defenders are down, we have seen a lot of teams kind of go against that grain, especially on Clubhouse, where the attackers start getting a lot more rounds, and then the defenders just kind of fall short. But we haven't seen that on Clubhouse. So far, every Clubhouse game in CCSW has gone aligned with the statistics, except this one right now. We are seeing the attacking side of things is looking a little bit stronger than you'd expect on Cafe for Victoria's Secret, and Axios need to capitalize on the fact they have the advantage right now. They do not want to go into this half down.
Well, of course not, right? Nobody wants to be down at any point during the match. Unfortunately, Axios is in that position, but it's 2-1, right? After 3 rounds, if you're going to be down, it might as well be by 1 than by, a 3-0, because that would mean a totally different game is beginning to transpire.
Yeah.
1-2 scoreline, no problem. All the rounds have been pretty close. Like, nobody has gotten completely dismantled. The 2 rounds that Axios has lost was on the backs of a multi-kill by one of the members of Victoria's Secret. The first time, Little Lexi. The second time, Rachel Boo. But the fact that they're letting the attackers onto site when they're defending up top was kind of their Achilles heel, right? Because they had no idea. And when somebody's on site, you know you have those moments in rank where he's like, he's on site. How'd he get there? Right?
Yeah.
Somebody gets mad. That's
Yeah.
what happened to them twice. And so they need to find a way to make an adjustment the next time they go up top. But, of course, losing 2 straight on a certain bomb site is kind of a, hey, let's move and try to make
Let's
something.
not get stubborn.
Yeah, let's try and make something different happen somewhere else. You'll occasionally see a 3 in a row, and it occasionally will become successful. But usually you want to get off of there and kind of, set things up a little bit differently.
Yeah, you want to look at your options, I think is the best way to put it, because the third time, it is kind of a charm in Siege. Most of the time, if you go to a site 3 times in a row, the third time the defense is going to win simply because it's been over and over and over again. And if you haven't fixed your mistakes at that point, then it's just no hope. But we aren't going to be seeing that here. We aren't going to see the side of Axios get stubborn. But just like that, Sketchopotamus is able to find one onto Lamp, and down goes the Vigil, and down goes some Roam Presence. But there is another operator upstairs. I'm pretty sure that is the Jaeger. Yes, it is. If Jaeger has not been droned out, I think he has. So
There's 2
Jaeger
up
is in
top,
his,
yeah.
Oh, there's 2 upstairs. Valkyrie as well. As Valkyrie's just missing the shots, unfortunately, is going to get fragged out, and that hurts. But Bazinga is able to find one and try to even up the slate just a little bit. But it is not looking good as the Roam presence upstairs has been dismantled as that one Brit through the wall. Somebody's got to check her Moss because that was an incredible shot. And now it's only up to the Smoke and the Maestro down on site.
Both of those kills by Britt were through the wall. Fantastic job by her to just kind of do the physics math in her head and hit the right spot on the wall. I mean, she saw them cross, so she just aimed at the right spot and got the job done. So good for her. Breezy with the concussion grenades will fire down onto site, trying to get a little bit of intel before her team pushes down. The Maestro cam will not be dealt with, though. Here comes Smoke number 1. Little Lexi will find Ancient One from up top. No, actually from on the floor near pillars. And they will wrap around and Lupa in a horrible position, just kind of stuck in the middle of sight. Holes open all around. Easy cleanup there for Breezy. That's her second on the round. And Victoria's Secret didn't look so hot the first round, but have since turned it completely around, getting better and better each round. And now they're up 3-1.
Yeah, we saw Victoria's Secret first round. It was a time management issue. It is not a time management issue whatsoever, as we are looking at them and they are fast, they are aggressive, and it's instant clear of roamers, instant push on the site, and there's still a lot of time to be dealt with. So they have completely fixed their mistake, and this could be a position where this is a snowball effect. Victoria's Secret is gaining momentum, and I think that was the very first round we have seen where it went completely one-sided. Was that a flawless round? I'm not 100% positive.
No, it wasn't.
4
Bazinga
alive?
got a kill. Bazinga got a kill, I know.
Oh, yeah, so it was 4 alive. It was very close to a flawless round, but we haven't seen anything like that so far until right then and there, and this could be the opportunity that Victoria's Secret needs to start running away with this game.
Well, I mean, they're off to a good start, right? to begin to run away. And we saw a 5-1 score line earlier today, which, Victoria's Secret is 2 rounds away from doing that. Axios certainly not out of it yet. But even that wasn't enough to keep 8K from almost bringing it back. I mean, score line at the end of that game was a 7-5. So really anything could happen at this point. Again, I feel like, Axios is the team in North America that's been together the longest, since before R6W was announced, I believe.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
And so because of that, I don't think they had competed in anything, but they got together. It was just a coincidence, believe it or not. They've been playing competitive longer. We talked about Victoria's Secret and like hours into the game. And so, those things are more powerful when you're on a map that the other team just isn't as good on, right? And a reworked map that's been around a lot less of time, or, for a lot, I guess, less, period, in a playable fashion, is always going to go to a team that is more prepared, of course, but if the level of preparation is the same, then it's going to go to the people that just have more overall experiences. Angles, game sense, because they know where the sight lines, they know where people hide, they know where the default spots are, et cetera, et cetera. And that's kind of what we've been seeing, I think, on Cafe today.
Yeah, and we saw it with the Artemis game. Artemis was a team together for a very, very long time. I think they, if I'm not mistaken, it's either Axios or Artemis are.
Did I say Axios? Because Artemis is the
Yes,
team
you
that
did.
I was. That's the team that I meant had been together.
Oh, okay. That makes more sense. So Axios, yes, they are the team that has been together the longest amount of time,
Artemis.
and it has
Artemis is the team.
Yes, now we're all over the place. Artemis is the team that has been together the longest amount of time, and it showed on Cafe. It's a newer map, like you said, and it's one of the maps where, if you've been together for a long time, you maybe have some strats for it. Whereas the teams that are newer, since it's such a new map and you might not be screaming in as much, you might be focusing on the clubhouses, the borders and things like that, maybe the consulates, you're not going to focus on Cafe. And right now we're kind of seeing that here. Victoria's Secret definitely have a little bit more experience than Axios, and it's showing. Even if it is ranked matches, even if it is matches where there might not be a competitive setting, it still matters as Lexi is able to find one. And I think that's 9 for her already. I'm not 100% positive. I could be completely wrong. But Ninja Craft is able to get the refrag. It's not going to be a direct refrag, but it is going to even up the table just a little bit, making it a 4v4. But a sledge for a Jaeger, I will take that trade any day of the week if I am on defense. Getting rid of 2 nades just to get rid of 1 roamer. That is a really nice trade in favor of defense.
Yeah, that makes it possible to get rid of 8 nades if you're Jaeger.
Oh.
And through the wall, a little bit of damage, but Breezy will finish it off from the doorway. Good crossfire there. Little Lexi very low on health, but a 4v3 nonetheless. Ancient One having a lot of success with that Alda thus far, will need to do so again to keep Axios in this, but only 25 seconds left now, so Victoria's Secret have got to get a move on if they want to get onto site and get that diffuser down, because the remaining defenders are all on site right now. So that's the place that they will have to push, and that's exactly where they will go. But Ancient One will find one, and so will Lupa. Now things are turned the other way. Only 5 seconds now. They're going to have to rush in. They're ready for it. Lamp will find the last 2, and Axios will make Victoria's Secret pay for waiting so long to try and take the site, and they will bring it back at a 3-1, which seems a little bit on the lopsided side of things, is now a 3-2.
And it's very easy to draw parallels of that round to the very first round. Same exact site, same exact thing went wrong for Victoria's Secret, and it was almost the exact same things that went right for Victoria's Secret. Everything went right for Victoria's Secret until the time management issue came up once again. Exactly the same thing. We saw the first round, same sites, and it's just, you kind of, if you're on the side of defense and you realize that you're going to try to get back to that site over and over and over again, or you're also going to go into a different thing that says, hey, we need to force them into situations where they are wasting a lot of time. Maybe put some roamers in places that you are going to have to clear out. You're going to have to invest some utility. You're going to have to invest some bodies. And if you can do that, you're going to put Victoria's Secret into a position where they force themselves into their own mistakes. The biggest mistake Victoria's Secret has that can get capitalized on is their time management, especially on that downstairs site. It has not translated to other sites, but that is Axios' job right now, is to make it translate to other sites.
You got me mid-contemplation right there.
I apologize.
Thinking about, well, no. I'm thinking about, okay, so what is it about Axios that's allowed them to win on, like, less favorable sites and not up top? I think really what it comes down to, we talked about this before, is they've allowed Victoria's Secret to sneak onto the site, right? And both times they've been able to sneak onto the site, we've seen multi-kills come out for Victoria's Secret, so Axios is from a down position as far as man counter, in this case woman count, is concerned. You know, both times being a 3-5 at one point. We saw Lexi come in and get a 3K. We saw Rachel come in and get a 2K. Just the very next round. Axios, if they can seal that deal off, I think we got a real game on our hands, because it's, well, actually, you know, I say that, and it is defender-sided, and Axios, the best they can do at the half is 3-3. I really don't even know how to call it at this point. It's really going to come down to, right now, in the present, can Axios stop what Victoria's Secret's been doing to them, and that's getting on site quickly and sneakily.
Yeah. Every round we've seen where Victoria's Secret have gotten onto site quickly, or they've gotten map control quickly, has gone in favor of Victoria's Secret. And once again, that's just a time management issue. If Axios can force the side of Victoria's Secret to take too much time, to waste time, it is going to go in Axios' favor. The one problem is, the side switch is coming right after this round, and if you don't capitalize on it right now, you're going to have a completely different game plan, because then you're going to be the ones on attack and you're going to be the ones having to push the site. So they need to get into this half 3-3 because it is a defender-sided map. And again, I apologize if you guys hear my dog just absolutely freaking out for some reason, but we are going to be seeing another freak out here as Legion unfortunately cannot finish the kill onto the Buck, as Buck is brought down to about 25 health. And not losing the Buck in that situation is huge, because once again, those 2 nades are on the board, but Rachel Boo is able to find one that's going to be onto the mute, and don't exactly know where, but Legion goes down. Sketchopotamus with a nice shot onto Ninjacroft, and time management, it's not really an issue right now, as everybody is just pushing on a site for Victoria's Secret. The walls are being opened, sight lines are being opened, and this is looking very, very good right now.
Yeah, Ancient One, though, fires back with the Alda, finding one, and here comes a grenade. Sketchopotamus, her second kill of the round, finding Lamp. So now it is a 2v4. The diffuser goes down. That one, Brit, successful the last 2 times up top planting. Little Lexi will find Ancient One, and that is probably their best hope of the retake gone off the board. It is now up to Lupa to find all 4 people before the diffuser can expire, but she's managed to find her way to the diffuser. She was not able to sneakily get on to beginning to disable it, but she will find Sketchopotamus nonetheless to pad her stats a little bit. But too many angles to cover. Little Lexi from the back of the head will find the shot to give Victoria's Secret their 4-2 scoreline at the half.
And that is not a good sign if you are Axios. Again, we look at the defender side and the attacker side, and we talk about stats every day of the week, and stats don't show everything. That's 100% true. But the one thing that it does show is in CCSW, on Cafe, the stats have almost every single time aligned with what we've seen before. Cafe in CCSW is defender-sided, and the fact that the attackers are the ones going to be winning and out going into the half, that's not a good sign for Axios, as well as the fact I think a lot of people are behind the side of Victoria's Secret. Victoria's Secret has more rounds. They're playing a little bit better. And the reason why Victoria's Secret has lost its only 2 rounds was because it was on the exact same site that they struggle with. And it was also just a time management issue. And that's a very it's a very easy issue to fix. And it's kind of just almost a pity round at that point for Axios, because it was just almost reliant on the site and almost reliant on just time management. And it's not really looking good for Axios. Victoria's Secret, I think, are in the driver's seat as of right now. And we're going to have to see what Axios can do on attack to try to hijack that seed.
Yeah, and, you know, it's kind of a clean slate after the half, because nobody knows what the other team's going to do, really, despite the intel. And I'll tell you what, Axios has the intel on Victoria's Secret, and when you have intel, especially when you don't have, like, the time and the experience to really break down VODs, your coach or the person on your team responsible for coming up with the strategies, the counter strategies, will typically focus on what did they do on defense. So I would expect Axios to have a little bit more of a plan to attack than they did to defend. That wasn't just their normal strategy.
Yeah.
They'll have their counter strats prepared for attack, because like we said before, Victoria's Secret has been to Cafe before, and Axios knows that. So here we go into their first attack round, 30 seconds in. It's going to be a little bit of what we normally see, a minute and 20-ish seconds of figuring out whether or not it's safe to drop the hatch and start taking that red stairs.
Yeah, and we are good. Wow, what? We're going to see the first kill come out for Lupa Plays. It's going to be downstairs and train, so one roamer is off the board. But Sketchopotamus is still in this position. Could find one, but he's just going to miss the shots there. And that's going to be unfortunate for the Mozzies. That could have been a huge kill, and now getting pushed by 3 people in so many different directions. One going to be pushing through Fireplace. Sketchopotamus is able to find 1, and is able to find 2. Echo potentially find 3 here, and that is absolutely huge in a round where the roam game looked like it was going to fizzle out very early on. Sketchopotamus says no thank you and wakes up the side of Victoria's Secret and is looking very, very good. Now it's all up to the Buck of Lupa Plays to try to clear this Mozzie out, and this is not only wasting a lot of bodies of the Gridlock and the Zofia, but also wasting a lot of time. Completely flipping the script is Sketchopotamus.
I am much sad that we turned her away right before she somehow weaseled her way out of that position. She was surrounded, stuck in the train car just to get some sort of protection. We turn away, she gets to it, we turn back, and she's just kind of dusting her hands, saying,
there, yeah.
Job well done, giving herself a pat on the back. but Lupa will finally shut her down. But look at that, 2 picks and 2 minutes off the board. Fantastic job roaming there. Little Lexi, though, got shut down early, so it is an even score line for the operator count across the board. Lupa coming out the other side with a lot of damage versus Victoria's Secret being almost full health across the board. So now the attacking squad must make their way up to the top. We've seen Lupa underneath. Looks like she's going to open up the default spot for the Maestro to be playing, and will just barely miss the sight line onto that Maestro. She'll prep a grenade up to throw, but decide against it as she has seen no activity underneath, and it looks like she's keeping the Maestro on her toes. It will actually do a fair bit of damage, taking about half of Maestro's health, but you know, they've got to get up to the top to actually start putting the diffuser down. And Lamp and the Thermite will do just that. Ancient One on that Thermite. They'll be getting at the wall open, but ladies and gentlemen, only 18 seconds left. They're going to have to rush. Rachel Boo right on the other side of that wall, shotgun in hand, ready to take on any close engagement. That one, Britt, will finish Lupa, who got down on the stairs with the Evil Eye, and here comes a diffuser getting put down. 2v3. Somebody from the closet will get shut down. She actually had the Thermite, the Nitro Cell in hand. That one, Britt will find one on Angel One, only one left, but the diffuser does get successfully planted. So good cover there by Lamp on the Maestro. Just Breezy will finish it off, though, with the flank, and just like that, Victoria's Secret will win their first defense.
That was very, very dangerous from Victoria's Secret. The fact that the Kaid pushed as the Maestro was reloading it was an opportunity for the attacking side to make it a 1v1. And Capitao against Maestro, yes, you're going to pick the Alda over, I don't exactly know which gun the Capitao is using, but it's still a 1v1 situation. It's 50-50 at that point. Victoria's Secret still won, and a win is a win, but next time in those types of situations, you really want to wait and see if you can get your Maestro to support you. You need to get that refrag immediately, because 1v1s, when the time is elongated and it allows the attacker to get into positions and the plant is also down, it really allows the attacker to just maybe gain an advantage that they didn't once have before. So very risky. The risk pays off, and Victoria's Secret are able to win the round, but maybe that's something we will see from Axios that they capitalize on later on in this matchup.
This is kind of the point where Axios now has to kick it into high gear.
Yeah.
You know, I've talked about this before when it was 5-1. The other way, 8K was down 5-1 at one point against Outdeuced. And, you know, you have a buffer still if the enemy team has 5. You can still lose a round and the game's not over. So you have to be nearly flawless, but you don't have to be perfect. When it gets to your opponent having 6 and you're trailing way, way behind, of course it's just as difficult. You know, maybe obviously it's a little bit more difficult because you have to be perfectly flawless. But from a mental standpoint, it becomes a lot more difficult. Just that singular round, because you have that match point replacing the round number up top that you're going to be looking at. And it's just mentally a lot more difficult thing to achieve. And I bet you if you put those, I wonder if anybody's ever done those statistics, like when somebody's down, coming back versus 5, then coming back versus 6. It's got to be a tremendous difference between the two.
Yeah.
Like, I'm willing to bet that people, like, the comeback rate, like, down 3-5 is significantly higher than down, like, 5-6. You know what I mean? Just because match point is so overwhelming to go up against.
Yeah, when you have that match point just looming on your screen, it backs you into a corner. And sometimes when you're backed into a corner, you either bite or you just fall apart. And it's just, again, something when match point is on the horizon is really hard to address. And it's something that even super high-level teams still struggle with. You see a lot of Evo Geniuses used to choke a lot in LANs. And you see a lot of Empire and G2, they've choked a lot. And it's just that looming idea of we could just lose it right here if we make one mistake. And most of the time when you overthink things and you just are wanting to do everything perfectly, it actually results in a lot more mistakes being made. And that's what match point kind of forces out of a lot of teams. But Axios are going to do their best to deny that. As we are going to see right now, Lil Lexi just sitting downstairs in VIP with the support of Mozzie somewhat close by. this is a pretty widespread roam for a kitchen defense. Zofia is going to go down, but the refrag is going to come out, and just like that, it's actually going to be no trade whatsoever. As unfortunately, never mind, just as I say that one Brit is able to take down Capitao. It's not a direct trade, but it is a trade nonetheless, and it brings the tables back to even sparring. It's a 4v4, but Mozzie has not been droned out as of yet, and is in a really nice position to get a kill onto Thatcher as Rachel Boo gets a kill onto Thermite. Ooh, that's a very, very huge kill, as well as that's Diffuser down, lots of utility down, and you also don't have a Capitao. Not the start Axios wanted whatsoever.
No, it isn't, and it's going to have to be a big, steep climb to come back, especially after Sketchopotamus finds Ninja Crop. Only 2 left. Bazinga, who's been having a pretty good game, but she's down in health quite a bit, and Lupa been struggling a little bit thus far. And they're spread out, too, and they actually have somebody in between them. So Bazinga will prep for utility to come out, and that one Brit threads the needle on the corner of the doorway, takes Lupa down to the ground, so only Bazinga left. Wow, what a shot. Took the entirety of the health there. Sketchopotamus, her second kill of the round. Take out Bazinga, and almost flawless there from Victoria's Secret. 4 left alive, and match point here on this third match of the night.
Something we've seen a lot in CCSW is the roam game is dominant. I mean dominant in the sense that it can really influence around. Any situation the roam game is going to influence around, but I feel like in CCSW it's almost tenfold, because no matter what, if the roamers are able to find maybe 1 kill, even 2 kills, it feels like I don't know the exact statistics of it, but it feels like it's almost 90% of the time the defense is then going to win it. And you tend to see that here and there, but it's just exemplified once again there. Mozzie not being cleared out. Yes, you cleared out the Jaeger very early on, but Mozzie wasn't cleared out. There wasn't enough intel on the Mozzie, and it forced everybody's focus right onto places off of sight. Waste time, you waste bodies, you waste utility, and that results in most of the time a loss of a round. And that's exactly what we saw Victoria's Secret struggling with when they attacked Kitchen the 2 times that they lost. And it's what we're seeing Axios struggle with almost every attack so far.
Well, Axios up against the ropes will have to be perfect for 4 rounds in a row for even the shot at taking the W at this match. Of course, they'll have to go into overtime and win a best 2 out of 3 there as well. So in order to win, of course, they must win 6 of the next 7, with the first 4 being a must-win. A very difficult task indeed. It's hard to believe that these 2 teams are in the rankings just a singular spot away from one another. As Victoria's Secret is kind of running away with it. And I'll tell you what, that's kind of been the story of Cafe today. Of course, 8K were able to mount a comeback once the flip happened. But Axios, man, they've got a lot of work to do, and it just has not been looking good. They started out strong. They won the first round of the entire matchup, and then the next couple of rounds were very, very close, like a singular person determining who won that round. I think we saw a couple of 1v1s, etc. And ever since then, Victoria's Secret's just becoming more and more dominant as they've become more and more comfortable on Cafe.
Yes.
And so here we go, a minute off the clock almost. Victoria's Secret running around all over the place on the road.
Yeah, and I think right now Axios just needs to close the pages because they're an open book. And I feel like Victoria's Secret is reading that book very, very well. And they're reading into every single attack that we've seen so far. Because right here, once again, Jaeger's in a position to completely stall out this attack. Because Axios is expecting another roamer to be sitting in train. But instead of sitting in train, you got somebody sitting on the hatch, and that's going to confirm a kill. Exactly what I said. And it's making me look very, very smart.
Where are the drones? Where are the drones?
Yeah, that's why I was just about to say that. There is no drones right now, and Axios is chasing phantom illusions. They're just chasing ink stinks and ideas of where people should be, and that is not going to work in Siege. Siege is a game of intel, and if you don't use your intel, you are going to lose. And right now, Axios is not using their intel whatsoever.
No, they're not. They're just trying to win gunfights and get flicks, and it's just not working very well for them. I saw last round Bazinga with that buck taking, 3rd floor and dropping down to the 2nd floor into mining. Like, there was no drone from her either, and that's when we saw that wonderful roam game from the Mozzie take place.
Yeah.
Either way, down 1 player, not looking good for Axios. 4v5. We're hearing some hard destruction finally go off somewhere else on the map. Looks like the other roamers are not getting any action, as it looks like the entirety of Axios, the remaining squad, has gone downstairs. No, there's still one on the window, going back and forth, but all the action's happening elsewhere right now as a diffuser begins to go down. So it looks like they were able to get onto site, and the diffuser is getting planted amongst the smoke. Actually, nobody nearby. What? The site completely empty, and the fire arrow, the asphyxiating bolt, cutting off that rotation back onto site. So it's now a retake. Little Lexi will find one. Rachel will go down in the process. A little Breezy with just a smidge of health left. And the time ticks away on the diffuser. The jump out will happen, but Zinga is ready for it completely and will finish it off. We'll probably have to rush to get back to cover the plant, but it doesn't look like anybody's approaching to try and disable the diffuser. That one, Britt will take the time to go up top and pick up her teammate, and Victoria's Secret is getting picked apart. It's going to be very difficult for them to come back at this point, as the diffuser must they must begin to get rid of it immediately, and just like that, no time left. Axios will for certain win this round, and Bazinga with a 2K to pad her stats at the end. Well done. I'm not sure how they were able to get onto site, but they planted, and then after that, all they had to do was hold angles, and they did so well. So that will be the first round of many more that will be needed for Axios to mount a comeback.
What I think we're seeing right there from Victoria's Secret is every single round before this, it was a horizontal hold. There was never really much presence up top or below. The roamers were spread out along the floor that the site was on. The thing we saw there from Victoria's Secret, that was a vertical hold. I think maybe they were trying a new strat because they are in the lead, and it obviously did not work. They had the holds from above, and I think they maybe relied on them a little bit too much, and that's what allowed the entire side of Axios to just get the plant down. We saw the Legion back on those white stairs. I don't exactly know where the intel was and why the Legion didn't just shoot through the unreinforced wall to stop that plant, but that's just something I think Victoria's Secret is going to look to fix. That really looked like, in my opinion, a strat that they were just trying out to see if it would work, simply because they don't want to show too much, and also simply because they are in the lead by a significant amount.
They are, indeed, in the lead by a significant amount. Axios, like we said, had to be perfect for 4 rounds. That's a good start, but it was still a little bit close for comfort. I think they kind of got away with murder there, getting onto the site and being able to plant with 9 people alive, 5 on the side of their enemies. But that's all in the past now. They will need to reset and redo it again, and now we have Victoria's Secret going up top. Again, the most preferred site, the site that Axios was unable to defend properly. They were able to defend 2 different spots off-site, but the top floor they were unable to find any success with at all. We'll see a very heavy roam coming out again here from Victoria's Secret, something that paid off in spades in the past, as there's just kind of an inherent lack of drones here from Axios.
Yeah.
We can't expect them to get onto site and get the diffuser down uncontested ever again, right? So it looks like they're going to have to rely on something that's been kind of their undoing thus far, and that's reacting to actionable intel.
Yeah, and the thing is they haven't really even found actionable intel because there hasn't been a lot of intel gifted to the team. This is one of the first times I think we've actually seen a drone get scooted into an area where you typically see a person. And right there, I don't think anyone's really acting upon it. I don't exactly know where that drone went, but it didn't really seem like anything was gained from that. Typically in the first 30 seconds, maybe even a minute of the round, your main objective, especially as a support player, is to dish as much information out to your fraggers, to your entry fraggers, to anybody who is able to get a kill. Your main objective is to dish information out. And unfortunately, I don't think that is happening right now for Axios, and that is their undoing. They don't want to waste time on just holding angles and hoping somebody's there, because instincts are dangerous. They either lead to a lot of kills in your favor, or they lead to you dying very, very quickly. And 9 times out of 10 in this matchup so far, they have led to Axios dying very, very quickly because they're relying on instincts and not intel.
I just like hearing you say ink stinks over and over again.
Instincts.
Are you saying instincts or
instincts? Instincts.
You're weird.
Instincts? Is it instincts?
It's instincts.
I don't know.
There's no K in there.
Maybe
it sounds like instincts. I'm like, what is there, a squid? Is there a squid somewhere?
I don't know.
It very well could be. Well, chat is going to light one of us up for sure, right? Because chat never hesitates. We'll see Lamp get taken off the board here. Or actually, not Lamp. I'm sorry, Lupa get taken off the board here. Pretty early on, Bazinga losing about half of her health as well. So not a great start for Axios. They were down 4-5 the last time they got the diffuser down, but now they don't have much time to work with. So they will go Hail Mary, get the smokes down. The plant will begin. A C4 will come out and not kill anybody, but will pull the diffuser off of it. And she'll actually lose a lot of health in the process. She will begin to try and fake to put the diffuser down, but she's going to have to commit here, and she's going to have to do it quick. Little Lexi will stop Ancient One. That is the one who went in for the defuse, so not looking good at all, as they will have to recover the diffuser. And just Breezy is prepped and ready to go. 2v5, not looking good at all. 4 seconds left. And Victoria's Secret looking to close this one out with a 7-3 score line, and they will do just that, as Axios has no time to react to the diffuse. Plants are going down. And Victoria's Secret, a very commanding win here on Cafe.
Yeah, that was a really strong win from Victoria's Secret. A lot of the rounds they lost, I think, just came down to simple mistakes. And simple mistakes, most of the time for a lot of these teams, are the undoing of it all, because it's the simple things that people just don't really consider when going through strats, when going through dry runs, that really can influence a game. And that's exactly what happened right here. Victoria's Secret, it looked as if it was simple throughout. It was fairly simple throughout. They had some hiccups here and there, but in the end, they were able to just finish it off.
Hey, Brim.
With their instincts.
What's up, buddy? Instincts. Instincts.
No,
chat,
instincts.
Chat, let us know.
Know.
Is it instincts or
no,
instincts?
It's instincts. Now I know, but I feel like that's like an accent
Yes, it is.
thing. I've always said it like that. I've always said instincts.
What do you? What is your?
About it.
What is your determination, Brim? I think your mic is muted, by the way.
Yeah, I thought I was missing out on some siege lingo there for a second. I was like, ink stinks.
Me too. I was trying to think, like, what is he saying?
I'm trying to think of all the different operators and the abilities and what could possibly be. But hey, that's something for Ubisoft to keep in mind. Let's have some sort of operator that shoots ink at people. It also smells, leaves a trail of smell.
And maybe it
Ink
blinds
stinks.
them. You know,
Exactly.
You never know.
Yeah,
you know in Mario Kart when you get the ink blotches?
The squid, yeah.
That's the ink stinks right there.
Yeah, they'll have to sell you an accessory where they like shoot stuff up your nose so you can actually smell it, right? It throws off your game. You're like,
it's just two little hoses that plug up there.
Exactly. It just sprays right in your face.
Yeah, that was definitely a dismantling, I would say, on Victoria's Secret's part. They definitely showed that they were the better team in that match. One little interesting thing that I'd like to talk about quickly before we flip to break, by comparison of how things are done in NA versus EU. At this point today, throughout the 3 matches so far, we have 16 bomb plants that have been successful. At least, the plant getting down being successful, not bothering with whether the diffuses, whether they were negated or not. At this point, earlier on in EU, there were 2 on the day through 3 matches.
Wow.
And now we have 16 in NA. Just a very big difference in style of play. Do you think this maybe comes down to skill, experience? What could it be that's different with North America that they're going after those diffuses more often?
I mean, if you're attacking, when the diffuser goes down, your chances of winning have gone up tremendously. It doesn't matter if you're fragging or not. And I said this once before, when way back in the day, way back in the day, we had one of the old year 1 season 1 pros or year 1 season 2 pros. We were discussing, like, okay, when we were discussing strategy, and I was like, what do you guys do? And they were a very successful team at the time. They said, listen, we try to take as little map control as possible, get the diffuser down, period. And I think that holds true to this day, because you look at the statistics in post-plant scenarios, and the attackers win overwhelmingly. It doesn't matter what the statistics are for win rate for defense or attack is on a map. You get the diffuser down, it's all over. If you rely more on your gun skills, like if you know your gun skills are going to get the job done, that's fine. But even then, if you have the opportunity to, just get the diffuser down and be done with it. I think that the diffuser not going down is less about the attackers and more about the way that the defense plays in that region for there to be such a discrepancy, because the defense must be all over the place and they must be dying before the attackers have the opportunity to get on site and plant.
Yeah.
Well, sorry, did you have more to add there, Red?
No, you can go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say getting us prepped up for the break in the next match, but if you had a little bit something to add there.
Nah,
All right,
he doesn't.
I'll say. Okay, never mind. I'll go. We're going to break.
Go ahead.
But
Okay.
just quickly, I actually want to disagree with Ty, just because I have the opportunity to disagree with Ty. The fact that the kind of idea of how get less map control and then just get the plant down. I feel like the plant down, that still holds true, but the map control aspect of that has definitely shifted quite a bit because there's a lot more reliance on roamers. There's a lot more reliance on gun skill and also vertical play. Whereas in season 1, season 2 of Siege, it was more direct fights. It wasn't vertical control. It wasn't below control. And I think map control is still extremely important as of right now, but getting the plant down is a little bit more important. And like you said, I think the statistics, if the attackers get that plant down, are going to shift heavily in favor of the attacking team.
Yeah, well, we're going to move on from this Victoria's Secret taking it over Axios match here, and we're going to be moving in. Stick with us here. We're just going to quick 5-minute break, but we've got a very interesting matchup coming up. This is going to be Sinister Red versus Powerhouse, the 10th and 9th seeded teams respectively. But these are two teams that have shown some brilliance over the stretches. Of course,
Yes.
with Powerhouse just knocking down for one match at least, Queen YOLO mid. But yeah, both of these teams have great players, and they've had, as I said, moments of brilliance. This is going to be an exciting one to watch, so stick around, and we'll be back in just a few minutes.